feel like this is on. That feels like it's on. Okay, good. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Am I on? Oh, yeah, there we go. Now we're really on. Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Okay. No page number because there are no words. So just join in. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 la. One more time. Ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 la. We're going to continue with Hine Matov, whose page number I don't know. Probably on page 1011. Yes, page 10. Nice. Apparently I've been doing this long enough to memorize the thing here or there. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. All right. Let's light candles. I didn't ask for a volunteer. Would somebody like to volunteer to light candles? Okay, Ahava, you volunteered. Come on up. Candle lighting is on page 2. if all of you, after having been here for many, many, many times, have not yet memorized the blessings. I'll do that one? Okay. That's cool. If you want to, you can. Okay. Try again. The AC is not even blowing and they're having a hard time staying lit.
I don't really think it's the AC's problem.
Well, that's usually the reason.
Yes, because we're underneath the AC vent, so yeah.
All right, I think you're good.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hav shel Shabbat.
Amen. And you'll light that candle. We've been lighting a candle for the hostages and saying the bracha, Baruch atah Adonai matir asirim. Praise you, God, who we hope will again demonstrate that you are the Redeemer of captives. And we rise for Hatikva, which is on page 374, and face the flag. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ufate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tofia od lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shnot alpayim liatam chofshi be'artenu eretz Tzion Yerushalayim liatam chofshi be'artenu eretz Tzion Yerushalayim. We can be seated. We're going to continue with Kabbalat Shabbat with L'chun Ranana, which is on page 12. L'chun Ranana la'Adonai Nariya litzur yishenu L'chun Ranana la'Adonai Nariya litzur yishenu Mekadma fana v'toda Bizmirot nariya lo L'chun Ranana la'Adonai Nariya litzur yishenu L'chun Ranana la'Adonai Nariya litzur yishenu Mekadma fana v'toda Bizmirot nariya lo Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim L'chun Ranana la'Adonai Nariya litzur yishenu L'chun Ranana la'Adonai Nariya litzur yishenu Mekadma fana v'toda Vizmirot Narialo Nekama Fana Vetora Vizmirot Narialo. Gotta change the vibe slightly for Lachadodi, which is on page 20. And start with the verse. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmianu ela miyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad u'shemo tiferet v'litila ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela likrat Shabbat l'chu b'nelcha ki mekor haberacha nerosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava techila ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela. Verse 5. Hitoreri kiva orech kumi uri shir daberi for Adonai alayich migla ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela. We rise and face the entrance to the congregation to welcome the Shabbat bride. Verse 9. Boi v'shalom aterep ala gam b'simcha u'b'tzola toch emuneh am segula boi chala ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela ol echad odi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekavela. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We welcome Shabbat. Let's take a moment to say hello to the folks around us and welcome each other. going to help with Amidah. The Adonai Svatai Tiftach part. Oh, thanks. That's tefillah. Oh, okay. Sure. When I'm ready. I'm finding my page first. We're going to continue on page 26 with Chatzi Kaddish. Actually, I'm going to put Ahava extra to work. Come lead Chatzi Kaddish. The rabbi said I should. The rabbi said I should put the upcoming B'nai Mitzvah to work. They should get lots of practice on the bima while he's gone. What?
It's fine.
So Ahava's going to lead Chatzi Kaddish, and then Jake's going to come and join us for the Shema and its blessings, etc. And then Ahava will come back for the tefillah. She said I shouldn't call it the Amidah because she doesn't know what that means.
I don't know it by the Amidah. I know it by the tefillah.
Which is
because
what it
that's
says in the prayer
on
book.
the prayer book. So I read the
It's okay.
tefillah.
It's all good. All right. Chatzi Kaddish, page 26. At your leisure, when you're ready. Yikadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma Divrach Chirutei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon U'v'yomechon U'v'chayetecho Beit Yisrael Bagala U'bizman Karif V'meru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam lo me'omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha Brichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Tamihiran be'oma V'meru Amen. You can go be seated. Jake, come on up. We rise for Baruch Hu, which is on page 28. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam 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 va'ed Yalalai 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 Ya la 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 Ya la la ya la 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 Ya la 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 la. Next page.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim B'chokhmah poteach she'arim Uvivuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 32. Take your pick. Pick. Choose.
All right. As you taught Torah
to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. You may be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai
Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadabarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha v'beitecha u'b'lechtecha v'aderech u'b'shochbecha u'b'kumecha u'kshartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Can I keep you up here for one more?
Sure.
Next page. Page 39. Jake's going to lead us responsively on the bottom of the page.
In a world torn by violence and pain, in a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high
Heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered at Sinai. We bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in the dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. We're going to let you go rejoice in your own seat. Thank you. It's nerve-wracking standing up here, even for me. Page 40. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. No rak tehilot, oh sefele, oh sefele, oh sefele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. No rak tehilot, oh sefele, oh sefele, oh sefele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. You know what, Ahava? Come on up. Take your pick of which thing to read on page 43 or 42 or 43. Tell us where you're going to read from.
I'm reading the Let There Be at the top of page 43.
Excellent.
Let there be love and understanding among us.
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And we continue with the Shamru.
Cool.
On page 44. Yep, that's right. Anything we sing, I start. That way we make sure that we're in key.
Okay.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam, oti leolam, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asaronai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ubayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Okay, we're going to turn to page 46 for, you're right, it says tefillah. Call it the Amidah because we stand. It's the standing prayer. So that's page 46. We are going to begin on 46 and continue on page 48 and 50 and 52. And actually 53, not 52. And then we're going to continue silently on our own until we get to the end of the Amidah, which concludes really on page 62 with Oseh Shalom. And then we'll join together again with Shalom Rav on page 60. Everybody follow that? Yeah, okay. So one more time in case it wasn't clear the first go around. I know. I'm mixing things up here a little bit. 46, 48, 50, 50, then 53, then silently. And I'll actually give you all the instructions at that point. I'll give you, we'll silently until the end, which is on page 62, and then we'll resume on page 60 with Shalom Rav. I know it's complicated, but it's okay. Well, I'll call it the page numbers. That's my job, right? Okay. I'm glad we're all having a good time and laughing and enjoying, because that's Oneg. Shabbat should be certainly about Oneg, joy and fun and enjoyment. Yeah. Oh, we're doing it. She wants to know what melody we're using for Adonai Sfatai, which I'm not sure she's ever actually heard before. So that's okay.
I'm gonna lead this one.
Yeah. We're just gonna face the ark and. Yeah.
Please rise and face the ark.
Yeah, because it's the Amidah.
I've been here for a while. I understand.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo V'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah, Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofech cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanata lachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Page 53. Ya'ana emtzacha, mekomcha na'ala v'ne'elam, ve'ana lo emtzacha, Kivorcha ma'alei olam. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one. Yet where would I not go to find you? Ever-present, eternal one. My heart cries out to you. Please draw near to me. The moment I reach out to you, I find you reaching in for me. Where might I go to find you? Exalted, hidden one. Yet where would I not go to find you? Ever-present, eternal one. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently through page 62. Page 60. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. B'tov einecha levarech את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. We're going to turn to page 253 for our Mishaberach, our prayer for healing for those who are in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit. If I can find page 253. I know it's here somewhere. Got it, okay. This week, we are praying for healing for Milena Barcena Villalobos, Joan Adler, Bill Ellis, Amber Gracia, Ellen Stupak Shaw, Aaron Kugler, Alan Levin, Karen Ellis, Emily Elkins, Judith Levy, Patricia Drake, Sydney Crivella, and Ruth Alford. And if anybody would like to add names, you can do so now. Again, you can find Mishaberach on page 253. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Praised are you, Adonai, source of healing. Amen. A lot of getting set up for Star Tour, isn't it? Okay. I don't know about y'all, but I spent a good portion of this week watching the Olympics, particularly the women's gymnastics competition. And I suspect by the nods and the heads that it was true for many of us. In addition to the In addition to the obviously notable feats, also the disappointing stumbles, the team, the individual triumphs, I was struck by the way the women approached the competition. Of course, they all wanted to perform their best and win. But the amount of support they showed for each other was incredible. What I became most aware of over the course of the week is that although they're fierce competitors, they're also a community. It wasn't especially emphasized in the competition, but it was mentioned several times that the competition circuit puts these women in regular contact with each other. They may train in their own individual worlds in their gyms and wherever they happen to be in the country, but they see each other regularly at events. They learn each other's strengths, their weaknesses, their challenges. They also keenly know the usual pecking order of who's better than who. So although on any given day, any individual could rise to the top, they pretty gracefully accept when the outcome happens as expected. More importantly, though, they develop friendships that can transcend the format that places them at odds with each other. What's true in sports is also often true in life. We each exist as individuals trying to do our best, and as parts of communities of varying sizes and expansiveness by the local, national, or international, that challenge us to find a balance between our own interests and the collective interests of the larger communities of which we're a part, just like these competitors. This is an interesting week in the context of our Jewish calendar. We read Parshat Matot Maseh, concluding the book of Numbers, which means that in just over a week, we'll also observe Tisha B'Av, the commemoration of the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem by the Babylonians in 586 BCE and the Romans in 70 CE. And I want to take a moment to look at each of these events, these moments in our history, through the lens of that individuality, competition, and community that Olympic gymnastics competition led me to think about. In 586 BCE, the less reference of the destructions, the rabbis tend to focus on the religious and ritual faithlessness of our ancestors. But if we look at those events through a political lens, we see something else entirely. As you may remember, ancient Israel sat along the path of the Fertile Crescent between Egypt and Mesopotamia. You remember learning about that in grade school, right? The kingdoms of Israel and Judah were never major players. And in the years before their destructions, they served as vassal states to the larger powers in the region, be they Babylonia or Egypt or Assyria. Those are where the real power centers were. Kind of like the gymnasts, where you could watch lots of them, but you knew who the three top ones were going to be. In both cases, the kingdoms rebelled against the regional superpower. And in 586, Babylonia crushed the kingdom of Judah in response. The inability to recognize their place in the larger order of the global community, that was their downfall. So it's important to kind of know where you are in the pecking order. And our ancestors, that first time, they got it wrong. The story in 70 CE, at least in the rabbinic mind, is about the global consequences of individual behavior. How can one person influence a whole community, society, world, cause a chain of events that can impact everyone? They tell the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, which I know has been told from this bima several times. And so I'll summarize it briefly. There's a man who decides to have a party. He tells his servant to invite his friend, Kamsa. The servant misunderstands and invites Bar Kamsa, who happens to be this guy's enemy. Bar Kamsa shows up at the party, and of course, the host is upset. And Bar Kamsa offers to pay for his food. He even offers to pay for half the cost of the party. Just don't throw me out. But the host is so, in his own world, that he decides he throws Bar Kamsa out. Bar Kamsa noticed there were a bunch of rabbis there and they didn't protest, and so he goes to the Roman authorities and basically contrives to get the rabbis in trouble so that the Romans think that the rabbis are in rebellion, and that leads to ultimately to the destruction. There are lots of messages in that story, and the one that I want to focus on is that individual's inability to respond with grace to his competitor. His inability to recognize that that person was due at least the, let's call it, honor or the face-saving measure of being able to stay at the party and not be thrown out. And the incredible consequences that came from that one action, that one poor treatment of his enemy, in addition to whatever else had happened before, but the consequences of that single action, that single moment. The third example comes from this week's parasha. Our ancestors stand on the east side of the Jordan River, on the verge of entering the land promised to their ancestors. And the tribes of Reuven, Gad, and Manasseh approach Moses with a request. They're shepherding tribes, and the land they've conquered from Moab and Midian, the land on the east side of the Jordan, that wasn't really supposed to be part of God's gift to the people. It's pretty appealing to them because it's good cattle stock raising land. So they want to settle there. Moses is understandably concerned that this is going to have an impact on the willingness of the other tribes and their ability to conquer the land. So he makes a deal with them. They can have the land, but they also have to participate with the rest of the nation in the conquest. These three tribes accept that obligation, and according to the book of Joshua, they fulfill their commitment to the other tribes. It's many chapters later. So these three stories converging this week offer examples, both negative and positive, that I think we would do well to learn from if we think of them in the context of our world. Our society often extols individual accomplishments and individualism in general. And the voices that emphasize individualism, whether at the personal, communal, or national level, often misestimate individual power. They see the individual as having accomplished on their own far more than really the individual has actually accomplished on their own. That was the mistake of the kingdom of Judah, to overassert its independence, to overassess how much it could accomplish on its own, to be independent. That led to that disaster. In the Kamsa and Bar Kamsa story, I can't help but think of elements of current Israeli politics. To be certain, the situation in Israel is incredibly complex. But I did listen to one thing on the radio this week that struck me really, really strongly. That was a commentator, a former chief of staff and defense minister, who said that really the biggest obstacle to the resolution of the hostage crisis, the war in Gaza, and probably the rest of Israel's current conflicts is Prime Minister Netanyahu's personal interest and the interests of certain cabinet members with a vision that's not broadly shared by the nation. He blamed Itamar Ben-Gvir, Bezalel Smotrich of messianic apocalyptic intentions that combined with Netanyahu's need to remain in power to avoid criminal prosecution is prolonging the war and delaying the potential return of the hostages. There are, of course, many ways to read the situation, but as an example of how one person's, or in this case, three individuals' choices can have extremely broad impact, like the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, it's extremely poignant. In stark contrast, this week also witnessed the return of a number of political prisoners, the result of multinational collaboration and shared interest among a variety of leaders in a variety of countries. Seeing the image in the newspaper of the 12 or so people who were released by Russia is a testament to what can be accomplished with the power of community. That's the example that's set by the tribes of Reuven, Gad, Manasseh, who found that balance between their own interests and the needs of the broader nation, who were able to say, we want this, and also we will help everybody else accomplish that. Ultimately, it's that balance which we all need to seek on every level. We absolutely should seek to succeed, accomplish, and achieve our goals individually to the best of our abilities. But we have to do it in the context of the communities, the societies, whether they're the local one here, the national society, the broader international culture, in whichever one of those spheres we exist. It has to work through all of that web of relationships. We have to beware of misjudging our importance or power, kind of like our Israelite ancestors did in the kingdom of Judah. We have to avoid the Bar Kamsa pitfall by carefully considering whether promoting our individual interests will come at the expense of the larger group. We have to remember, like those 3 tribes, that we have obligations to communities wider than our own. As we move through the consequential weeks and months ahead, because we do have a lot of important things coming up, I hope we can take the lessons of our past and the examples of those Olympic gymnasts to heart and find that balance between pursuing our individual needs and interests and supporting the expanding circles of community, of the communities of which we're a part. Shabbat Shalom. It's announcement time. Jill, you're up.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to our members, guests, and virtual congregants. Hello out there. We hope that your participation in the Shabbat has been meaningful. Let me share with you some upcoming events that may be interesting to you. Please remember to send in, I don't know if this is an interesting event, but please remember to send in your commitment to community pledge forms and your religious school registration forms to the office. Our new fiscal year has begun as of July 1st. We need you to help us out as we transition to Shul Cloud and a new billing cycle. So that's interesting event number 1. Save the weekend, August 16th to 18th, which is 2 weeks away, for some amazing events to start our program year. August 16th, we're having a membership Shabbat. August 17th will be Havdalah and a mortgage burning party. Yay, us! August 18th, we're having a welcome back to school fun festival because school starts the following week, and you're all welcome to join us, even if you don't have kids in school. More details to follow. Rabbi Lipper has announced our High Holy Day film series for this year. We will be watching and discussing the following films. On August 24th at 7 p.m., we're going to be watching A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And on September 21st at 7 p.m., we're watching a film called Magnolia. So please join us if you can. On Saturday, September 7th at 6 at Congregation Emmanuel, you are invited for an Elul concert and Havdalah service featuring Eliana Light. As always, if you have questions or need information, please call the temple office. And please join us for Kiddush, Motzi, and Oneg following this service. Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Jill. We are going to continue our service on page 283 and rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latek gdula liotzer breshit, shehu sam chelkenu liacher et shemo, v'gor aleinu lehamlich malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yoser Haaretz, U'Moshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Imal, Ushchinatu zo, begovhe meromim. Hu Eloheinu enod, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu b'torato, v'yarata hayom v'ashevota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, bashamayim imal, ve'al haaretz mitachat, enod, v'ne'emar ve'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. We can be seated. Let's read together the meditation at the bottom of page 291. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week we remember Madeline Skalka, mother of Michael Skalka, Dorsey Beach, mother of Jill Beach, Esther Barnett Pearl, grandmother of Sandy Rushworth, Helen Brandt, mother of Michael Brandt, Maria Escobar de Linan, grandmother of Beth Zeffert, Robert Grabois, father of Ron Grabois. And in Shloshim, we remember Audrey Henkin, mother of Henry Henkin, mother-in-law of Wei Ping Kuo, and grandmother of Jake and Ethan Henkin. And we also remember keeping all of our beloveds in mind, we rise for Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma tivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'b'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbam vorach leolam lo'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei b'kudesha b'richu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechmata damiran v'yalma v'yimaru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru, amen. You can be seated. Don't turn the page, because we're going to conclude with Oseh Shalom. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, be'alto Yisrael, be'alto yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ve'imru amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Join us outside for Kiddush and Motzi.